So, the question of the day is, what is the role of red marrow in hematopoiesis? Well, red marrow plays a crucial role in hematopoiesis, which is the process of forming blood cells. Hematopoiesis occurs in the bone marrow and involves the production and maturation of various blood cell types, including red blood cells, erythrocytes, white blood cells, leukocytes, and platelets, thrombocytes. Red marrow is the soft, spongy tissue found in the interior of certain bones, especially the flat bones, such as the skull, ribs, sternum, and pelvis, and the ends of long bones, such as the femur and humerus. It contains a high concentration of hematopoietic stem cells, HSCs, also known as pluripotent stem cells, which have the unique ability to differentiate into all the different types of blood cells. The process of hematopoiesis involves several stages. Multipotent stem cell. Hematopoietic stem cells are multipotent, meaning they can give rise to multiple cell types within a specific lineage. In this case, HSCs can differentiate into various blood cell precursors. Progenitor cells. The HSCs divide and give rise to progenitor cells, which are more committed to specific blood cell lineages. There are different types of progenitor cells for each type of blood cell. Maturation and differentiation. The progenitor cells undergo several stages of maturation and differentiation, guided by various growth factors and cytokines, which are signaling molecules that regulate hematopoiesis. This process leads to the formation of mature red blood cells, various types of white blood cells, neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, basophils, and platelets. Release into circulation. Once the blood cells mature, they are released from the bone marrow into the bloodstream, where they perform their respective functions in maintaining bodily functions. It is important to note that hematopoiesis is a dynamic process that is regulated by various factors, including hormonal signals, cytokines, and the body's demand for different types of blood cells. In situations of increased demand, such as during infection or blood loss, the bone marrow can increase its rate of production to replenish the blood cell pool. In summary, red marrow is essential for hematopoiesis as it houses hematopoietic stem cells that give rise to all the different types of blood cells needed for oxygen transport, immune defense, and blood clotting, ensuring the proper functioning of the body's physiological processes. In the gross anatomy of a long bone, when cut longitudinally, we can observe two types of bone tissue: dense, compact, bone tissue, and spongy, cancellous, bone tissue. Dense, compact, bone tissue. This type of bone tissue forms the outer layer of the bone and provides strength and support. It appears solid and dense due to its tightly packed mineralized matrix, which is organized into concentric circles called lamellae around reversion canals. These canals contain blood vessels and nerves that supply the bone with nutrients and sensory information. Spongy, cancellous bone tissue. Spongy bone tissue is found beneath the dense bone tissue, towards the interior of the bone. It has a more porous and lattice-like structure, resembling a sponge. The hard white matrix is arranged into crisscrossing trabeculae or little beams, creating a cancellous pattern, which pertains to a lattice. The trabeculae give spongy bone its characteristic appearance and provide strength while reducing the weight of the bone. The holes or spaces within the spongy bone contain red bone marrow, also known as myeloid tissue. Red bone marrow is a soft, pulpy meshwork of reddish-colored blood vessels, fat cells, and hematopoietic cells. Hematopoiesis occurs within the red bone marrow, which is the process of blood cell formation. Hematopoiesis is responsible for the production of various formed elements of the bloodstream, including red blood cells, erythrocytes. These are responsible for carrying oxygen throughout the body. White blood cells, leukocytes. These play a critical role in the immune system and help defend the body against infections and foreign invaders. Platelets, thrombocytes. These are essential for blood clotting, which helps in preventing excessive bleeding and promoting wound healing. While red bone marrow is the primary site for hematopoiesis in adults, it's important to note that yellow bone marrow, found in the central cavity of long bones, can also revert to red bone marrow during times of increased demand for blood cell production or in response to certain medical conditions. In short, the spongy bone tissue in long bones contains red bone marrow, and this marrow is responsible for hematopoiesis, the process of forming the various types of blood cells and blood cell fragments that make up the formed elements of the bloodstream. Hemocytoblasts, also known as hematopoietic stem cells, are the original parent cells in the red bone marrow responsible for giving rise to all the formed elements found in the bloodstream. Hemocytoblasts are relatively large cells with a distinct oval nucleus and projecting arms of cytoplasm. Through a series of intermediate cell stages, they differentiate into different types of blood cells. Erythrocytes, red blood cells. Erythrocytes, or red blood cells, RBCs, are mature cells that lack a nucleus and have a biconcave disc shape, resembling a red hourglass when viewed on its side. Their precursor in the developmental stages is called the erythroblast, a regular cell with a nucleus. However, during maturation, the erythroblast loses its nucleus, becoming enucleate. Erythrocytes appear red due to the presence of hemoglobin, a protein that carries oxygen throughout the bloodstream. Leukocytes, white blood cells. Leukocytes, or white blood cells, WBCs, are named for the clear, whitish color of their cytoplasm. Unlike erythrocytes, all leukocytes are nucleated cells. The most common type of leukocyte produced during hematopoiesis is the neutrophil, which is named based on its affinity for neutral dyes during biological staining. The myeloblast is the parent cell of neutrophils, found just after the hemocytoblast in the bone marrow. Blood platelets, thrombocytes. Blood platelets, also known as thrombocytes, are small, plate-like fragments derived from disintegrated bone marrow cells. Their parent cell just after the hemocytoblast is the megakaryoblast. The megakaryoblast is an immature cell that eventually becomes a mature bone marrow cell, breaking apart into several platelets. Platelets play a crucial role in clotting by sticking together to form thrombi or blood clots. In summary, hematopoiesis begins with hemocytoblasts in the red bone marrow. These stem cells differentiate into various precursor cells, eventually leading to the formation of erythrocytes, red blood cells, leukocytes, white blood cells, and blood platelets, thrombocytes, which are the formed elements of the bloodstream. Each of these cell types serves vital functions in maintaining the body's health and proper functioning. That was all for today. Keep watching for more.
In the race against time, there is a game changer. Welcome to Medical Learning Reimagined, a world where over 40 specially curated courses are just a tap away. Dive into the mysteries of genetics, or unravel the complexities of cell physiology. Why stick to the old ways when you can learn smart? Harness the power of digital education. Leap into the future, mastering medicine one swipe at a time. sqadia.com. Medicine modernized.